Hey guys, what's up? This is a special thank you video for the 150 subs mark, which I've been trying to reach for a long time, and without you guys and all your support, it wouldn't have been possible. The live streams, all the videos, all the constant fail duels, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be anywhere that I am now. And I gotta thank you for everything you've done, for all the support, for the love, everything. It means the world. Um, if it gave me more than just a simple bit of video views or fame or glory, because you know what? That to me doesn't matter. What matters to me is you guys and the fans. Well, all you fans, my friends, you guys are like family. You guys are awesome. And you guys keep me in a stable state of mind through all the crap, all the stress, all the everything. You guys have been there, and I know you guys will continue to be there for me through all the hard times, through all the everything. So, to all 150 of you who have subbed to the channel and do support me, I thank you so greatly. I am grateful to have you guys in your support. So to celebrate that, I'm going to go through my deck list, my history, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, tell you the history of my decks, stuff like that. Don't be hating because I do think one deck is bad. Just accept what the deck is. And remember that you guys are all completely worth it, and without you guys, I'd be nowhere. I wouldn't be anywhere in my career at all if it weren't for all 156 who support me. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first deck of the list is my agent deck. Pretty straightforward. A lot of stun power. A lot of potential as far as in an endurance game. This deck is one of the toppers. In the endurance game, this deck does so well in the endurance run. This deck is just too good. You can take it and try it, but it's just an agent deck with one Doors and Birdman with some synchro stuff. This deck was actually my first fairy deck ever used. This is the upgraded version of the original one, and it is much better than the first one of the deck that I had. This deck is my assault mode deck. Given to me by Paul Richards, my good friend, my brother. He's one of my biggest supporters. Sorry, guys, I was just dead walking for a second. This deck was given to me by, like I said, my brother, one of my biggest supporters. Not necessarily a supporter of the channel, but just as a big supporter, a big friend, and a great duelist, and a great mentor. He's definitely one of the best. This deck is made by him. I'll link him in the channel, so you can go watch his stuff too. He also does Yu-Gi-Oh videos and stuff like that, and you can go check him out because he's my biggest supporter as far as Yu-Gi-Oh goes. This deck here, my Atlantean Frogs. Great combos, great playability. I made this deck a little while back, about, I want to say, a few weeks ago. I made this deck a little while back in the hopes that it would be pretty good, and it's good, but I made a better version which I will show you which is actually later at the end of the video. So you will be able to go and um, see that as well. But this deck, a lot of combos, a lot of popping destructive power. But overall, it's pretty good. Not the greatest though. This deck here is my main Atlantean deck that I use. It's pretty broke, but still working on it. I don't use it much simply for the fact that I don't know. I don't like Atlanteans. I don't like Mouse. I just don't like the playstyle. Here we've got a Beast Warrior Stun deck that I actually made in real life. This deck is pretty fun. I know it's just a random composite, like a random component of cards and stuff like that, but it actually works. At locals, this deck actually does pretty well. You can get over E-Dragons, you can get over all kinds of things in this deck. The Stellars, I've got it. But against a YCS build, this deck probably would not stand a chance. This deck is my first ever blocking deck. One of the first decks that I actually made when I started doing Yu-Gi-Oh videos was this deck right here. This deck actually has a lot of history for me. This is my first basic sync. This is my first synchro deck that I ever used. I had always thought that fusions are the best, so I always used heroes. But this blocking deck, I made it shortly before I started doing Yu-Gi 2, or before I became a Yu-Gi tuber. It got me a lot of wins, and this build honestly could go to YCS and do pretty well. I just haven't taken it, nor have I built it in real life, but I would like to. This deck, my friend Greco and we challenged each other to build a Blue Eyes deck that ran the calculator. And this is what I came up with. This is better. Just some... This is a Dragoonity Synchro engine, so you can get all kinds of Synchro monsters out. So that's why this deck, this deck is kind of fun. You can go back at a dragon, whatever, but it's not competitive. This deck right here is a Chaos Dark World deck using a Light Sworn Mill engine and a Dark World discard engine. Well, Dark World discard. Surprisingly, this deck wins games. Everyone is like, no, this deck is bad. No, it's not that bad. In competitive, yes. But as far as for fun and originality goes, this deck by far is one of the most original. This right here is my Chaos Nordic deck. This deck actually won me a tournament on Duel Network last week. Dragon Rulers, Evil Swarms, basically the main OTK decks were taken out, so they said use something original. So I brought Chaos Nordic to the field, and I did well. It was an all original deck. Okay, so that's my Chaos Notice. Then we have Chronometry. This deck I had made in the hopes of being able to understand the deck style and the way it works, and I don't know. Particularly, I'm not a big fan of the Chronometry set. Personally, I don't like the way the deck works, and it's a little too slow for me. I like faster decks, and this deck is not one of them. And this is Stellar Monarchs. Very different style deck. As you can see, it focuses in Rank, it focuses in rank 6 exceeding. You can also have Gotchi and a Gigasto Phoenix. And basically it's, this deck hasn't been fully tested. There was just some random composite. This deck right here is a Dark World Archfiend deck using Knight of the Archfiends, Lord of Terror, and Commander of the Archfiends. Dark World. This Dark World deck, I actually took to YCS in 2012, and I topped 16 with it. I did really well. And this deck actually holds sentimental value to me because this deck was my first Dark World deck ever built. Had it in real life, and unfortunately, it was stolen at the tourney. So that was actually the last time I've been to a real true tournament. Like for any sort of big prize or any title. I stopped going because this deck actually was my favorite deck that I ever had at the time, and someone stole it, so that had actually greatly upset me. And the fact that that was my first tour guide that I ever gotten. Lost. That was when tour guide was extremely expensive too. This deck was my first combo deck, actually, mixed archetypes. Focuses around getting out Dark Simorg and basically controlling the field with like Armor Master, Scrap, Stardust, stuff like that. This is basically a control style deck, and the focus is around Anti-Spell, Royal Decree, Dark Simorg, basically locking them down. Shield Ring, basically just stall them off for a while. My second Dark World deck that I ever made, because this one I had built after the first one I had was stolen. It's just, it's an emotional time for me. Dragon Lord Frogs, just decided to come up with this idea. Not that great, I don't think. But that's just my opinion. The best Dragoon deck I've ever built using like Tempest and stuff like that. This deck is pretty alright. I definitely don't mind it. I got PM, Master Fleet. Looks like I'm about to be challenged. This deck here is a Dragoon combo deck. This one was built by my friend Paul. It was built by Paul. He built this deck, so courtesy to him for it. So here we have my first attempt at Elemental Dragons, and not necessarily my first attempt, but the best, the second best one I've ever built. An Elemental Dragon variety deck. Uses the basic dragons, works really well, combos nicely. Elemental Mermaids, using Tidal and Stream with it. Not really Yeah. This is kind of an emotional time for me. I'll just skip to like the important decks because I'm sure you guys don't want to see this, but I have this deck right here, inspired by my friend Edward. Um, he said make Evil Swarm King Stars, so I did. I'm just gonna go through like all the decks that actually hold meaning to it. This deck right here, my first Fire Fist deck, has won me several tournaments here on VN. I want to make it in real life, but just haven't had the money. This deck is the most original, most unique deck I've ever built, and probably one of the top decks that I've made. Simply just the fact that yeah, this deck actually is the only deck in it is the only deck that I primarily use. Everyone in the live streams has seen this deck. This is my Gishki Frog Monarch deck, and this deck is actually my best and my favorite deck. And I greatly enjoy this deck a lot. It's probably the best deck I think I've ever made as far as originality. It takes skill to use this deck the right way and to remember the leaps and all the combos. It's not like Dragon Rules. It's not like Dragon Rules, where basically it's self-guided. This deck holds sentimental value to me. Great Keepers. This deck won me YCS 2011 and 2012. And basically, the build didn't include these. It included like another recruiter, a main chief, and two of the big guy visionary. But essentially, it was the same build. This deck is just a really fun deck for me. It's Kawaki married Fire Fist. I did an individual deck profile on it, so you can go check that out. This deck right here was my first machine deck. And this deck for me was basically the best deck I'd ever made as far as a machine style deck. And I absolutely love it. So basically this guy, well in this deck here, this deck is just so fun, so broken, and is my favorite deck I've had, and I need to rebuild it, actually. I got Macro Rabbits, Modechos, Magicians. The only other deck that actually holds like a lot of value to me is this one right here. This is Paul's Spellbook deck. Probably the best spellbook deck I've ever seen or ever used. It beats Elemental Dragons. So that's basically it for that. Yeah, I've pretty much showed you the only decks that actually hold meaning to me, and when I got 6 lands, I got all with that. If there's a deck that you want me to specifically use or want me to build, just tell me and leave me some comments. One thing I have to tell you though, you can add me on Skype if you want to do videos or something. I will do videos for fans. All you have to do is add me on Skype. I will leave the name or my Skype name in the comments below. I'll leave my Skype name down below as well as a link to Paul's channel, and so on and so forth. Anyways, guys, this is once again the 150th subscriber special video. I just want to once again say thank you guys for all your support, and you guys are the best. And people were asking me to see like my favorite ducks, so there it is. I showed you everything that I have. It's actually important to me. Anyways, guys,